assistant in this case. So generate another answer saying like, I'm sorry, I'm not really sure in this case, or like, please contact that department or something like that. So this is the type of controls that we can build on top of a large language models, and there are plenty of them. So we open source NeMo guardrails so that anyone can take that project and can build on top of it new controls for that.
And there was a question specifically to steer LM and how that overlaps with these different things. Can you talk a little bit about steer LM? And obviously I'm super excited by the way you describe that, where it seems like you ask a question, you actually then effectively ask a large language model to create that question into lots of similar questions, and then ask another large language model to check that they all give a similar answer. So it's super interesting how to tackle the problem. But yeah, steer LLM, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, there are a lot of techniques. So we are talking about steer LLM, and as I mentioned also, you know, like all those controls that we can have. For instance, some of them can be basically after, before the processing. Again, you know, like we can even talk about distillation, where we use a very accurate large language model, you know, like GPT-4, for example, where we know that it's very accurate to generate somehow, you know, like questions or different type of prompts, or even synthetic data set that we are going to use to tune somehow, or to evaluate those small large language models, for example, and things like that. So really, you know, like stay tuned for those techniques. There are so plenty of them that will make a difference at some point on how we control those large language models.
Hi, Marianne. Please let me add here, if you don't mind. So basically, this is a bit back to what I mentioned before. There was a huge jump when we started introducing reinforcement learning with human feedback, which basically means we use human feedback to rank the answers of the LLM. And then we kept on iterating on that. There was a nice paper from Google mentioning reinforcement language from AI feedback, because requiring human feedback requires people ranking sentences, or we cannot do that in an unsupervised way. So with STRLM, the approach is that while we pre-train our language model, we also use a data set that contains several types of categories on the text we are, I couldn't say pre-training, but at least fine-tuning it, which means, for instance, we can say from 0 to 9, this is a friendly text. It has 0 hate speech. It is a scientific one. And by adding that information while training with specific data sets that have been previously labeled and that are available publicly, what you can do is that during the inference step, you can also force the language model to produce a friendly answer, or a legal style answer. And it's just a refinement of all those methods. As Marianne mentioned, there are lots of them. This is one more produced by NVIDIA, a really interesting one, but definitely not the last one in the next few months. Hope that helps.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. And I think we just keep coming back to it, right? There's you have to get hands-on. Every problem's going to be different. The rate of change is so fast. And yeah, hands-on, keep trying. There's so much resources out there, and no one quite knows how this is going to steer it, but you can take from the community where people are being successful in these endeavors. I saw one question about where to get help when stuck. And that probably moves on nicely to a comment around, of course, we have developer forums. There's a big ecosystem. Again, one of the things NVIDIA prides itself on is there are so many people collectively all trying to tackle this same problem, not just the engineers and the solution architects at NVIDIA, but people across the world. They're all trying to tackle this large language model challenge, and lots of them are using this technology. So you have volume in numbers in terms of solving some of these issues. But we do have enterprise services. I mean, effectively, that's my job, so I should probably talk about it a little. We have enterprise support that you can get. So if you're wanting to develop in Azure or in a hyperscaler, you can get NVIDIA AI Enterprise, and that can give you a way of raising a support case, which comes to our NVIDIA experts when you're using our software like NeMo, anything from NGC. And then the same if you're on-premise, you get hardware from your preferred provider. Again, you can buy NVIDIA AI Enterprise, which gives you access to these experts when you get stuck. And finally, I think it's the H100 PCIe cards. they actually come with NVIDIA as an entitlement as part of that. So yeah, absolutely. If it's a production thing, if it's difficult, if it's important to you, to the business, then we do have paid engagements where you can get an SLA-based response to when you're having problems. And we're seeing more and more people see the value of this because it's no longer just research. People have moved to how do we deliver business value, put things into production. And this is where we come back to things like Triton and the importance of efficiency, but also that trusted support to have someone to call if something goes wrong. We've only got 3 minutes left. I'm going to skim for a final question. I like the massive thank you. That one I really appreciate. So I'm definitely calling that one out, and I will copy that in a moment. An interesting question. It's a bit more philosophical. And I think we naturally are moving to more of a philosophical thought about the future of work and everything, and too much to cover here. But someone has asked about comparing hallucinations to random mutations. So I like the parallel, but I guess I'm going to go with Dora. Let's come back to you, please. Where do you see this going? As a bit of like inspirational in terms of the future, we'll definitely keep it positive, but this is really impactful. So what are you most excited about happening over the next few years?
Yeah, thank you for this opening question. So I would also relate it to another question, which was about how could we separate the truth from what we are generating, and so I think this is all about the same topic here. And yeah, so my take here is always saying we are always progressing. We develop new technologies, and each technology comes with a new capability, or at least it's not even new capability. It's just allowing us to make it faster and bigger all the time. So we went from horses to cars, and we went faster and bigger and more dangerous. But still, we're using cars now, and we know how to manage them. So I see it exactly the same way here. We are able to generate more content, more, I would say, faster. And yes, it is quite, we can be anxious about it, like seeing on the internet all this new content coming on and maybe mutating in something wrong sometimes, which is true. And if you go on Wikipedia, maybe a whole bunch of articles are now fully automatically generated, but there's somebody to just read it and say, hey, no, that's not true, so please correct it. And then we need to be confident in the human being being optimistic in the fact that we are just progressing. And yes, there are a lot of side effects, more and more dangerous, but there are also a lot of capabilities, more and more advantageous. So I would try to stay on the positive line here and take advantage of all this progress and amazing capabilities of generating images, videos for very fun and also very useful applications.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm always a massive optimist. And I think from that, there's a tendency to look at mutation as a negative, but think of it as bringing change. And this has made so many things possible today. And same with regulation. This was a big topic. And actually, for me, I see regulation as a great supporter of bringing trust and allowing people with confidence to go and do good and leverage the cutting edge technology. Okay, we're out of time. I've had a really enjoyable hour and a half, more than the hour I was expecting, which is nice. So big thank you to everyone, not only the experts we see on screen here, thank you all so much for your time and expertise. Also, so many people in the back end who have joined and been diligently answering lots of questions. And finally, the team and the office team and the support team who have put on the actual the system and the platform itself and helped us with setting this all up. So yeah, thank you all once again. Really appreciate your time and questions. Have a great day.
You too, Ross. Thank you for moderating.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
For joining. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.